yeah, Stephen A., we definitely heard Draymond Green. Andre Drummond not only on the trade block, but also now on the bench. The Cavs sitting the center during their game against the Warriors last night, and it caused Draymond Green to go off unsolicited after the game.
I would like to talk about something that's really bothering me, and it's the treatment of players in this league. To watch Andre Drummond before the game sit on the sideline, then go to the back, and then come out in street clothes because a team is going to trade him is bull. Because when James Harden asked for a trade and essentially dogged it, I don't think there was no surprise or there's no one's going to fight back that James was dogging it his last days in Houston. But he was castrated for wanting to go to a different team, and everybody destroyed that man. And yet a team can come out and say, oh, we want to trade a guy, and then that guy is to go sit. And if he doesn't stay professional, then he's a cancer, and he's not good in someone's locker room, and he's the issue. At some point, as players, we need to be treated with the same respect and have the same rights that the team can have. Because as a player, you're the worst person in the world when you want a different situation. But a team can say they're trading you, and that man is to stay in shape. He is to stay professional. And if not, his career is on the line. At some point, this league has to protect the players from embarrassment like that.
Hey, everybody. Welcome on into First Take. I'm Charlie Arnold. We got Max Kellerman, Stephen A. Smith. Guys, we have a lot to get to. You just heard Draymond Green. Stephen A.
Charlie, listen, we are about to get into a very serious subject in regards to Draymond Green and Max Kellerman. I just wanted to say, before we get into that, I want to start off this show on a high note, Max. I want to show you how excited I am, how passionate I am, how good I feel this morning. Did you see my Knicks? Did you see them? Did you see him last night? You see Julius Randle drop that 44 points, Max Kellerman?
44.
Did you see it? I just want to make, before we get into Draymond Green, did you see Julius Randle drop 44? Did you see Julius Randle playing like an all-star? Did you see that the New York Knicks won 3 straight? Max Kellerman? There's some special things happening in Madison Square Garden. Some special things, man. I'm just trying to tell you, Max. I'm just trying to tell you.
The best, Charlie?
I'm just trying to tell you, Max, there's some special things.
Look at this Knicks fan.
He's
like, we're a game below 500.
I love seeing him like this.
We're a game no one thought we could do it.
Let's not pay attention to such details. Let's think about the high moment right now, okay? Tom Thibodeau's got these boys playing hard, okay? I'm looking at good point guard play. I'm looking at dudes shooting. Julius Randle dropping 44. Hey, listen, man, we ain't seen that since Bernard King been at Madison Square Garden. We ain't seen that since Bernard King been at Madison. Well, actually, we saw it with Melo, but you know what I'm saying. I'm just saying.
Look, a lot of really positive things to, and I'm happy that you did. I'm happy we started on a high note because we do have some pretty serious comments to address, as you just heard Draymond Green. He sees a lot of discrepancies right now between the league and the players. So, Max, let's start with you. Do you agree with Draymond's comments?
No, I don't. And I think Draymond's confused here. I think that he wants his cake. He wants to eat his cake and have it too. Let's start with the James Harden, because James Harden and Andre Drummond are in 2 different situations. We know that superstars like James Harden have enormous leverage. They're going to get what they want. Look, James Harden got exactly what he wanted. What Draymond Green is talking about is the owners have more power than the players. Right, I'm pro-labor. I'm generally in these issues, I come down pro-labor. But the fact of the matter is that's the world we live in, certainly. If you amass huge pools of capital and you can own something, you usually have more power than the labor against which you negotiate, right? Okay, so the owners are running a de facto monopoly on basketball in North America. If you want to compete at the highest level and make a lot of money, got to play in the NBA. And the players are at a disadvantage when they come to the table for the collective bargaining sessions. But they get what they can, and the owners wind up better off. Stephen A., if Draymond wants players to have say in where they go every season, if they want all players to be treated that way, there are a couple solutions. One, the players can start a league. Not so easy to do, I know, but they could start a players' league. They could do it. It'd be difficult, but they could do it. That's one thing they can do. Here's another thing they could do. Sign 1-year deals. Just sign a series of one-year deals. Some people do that. Michael Jordan did that at the end. One-year contracts every year. If you sign a one-year contract, every year you're a free agent. You can go wherever the hell you want to go. I mean, that's the truth. But if you sign a long-term deal, you're doing it for financial security. And even when you have no trade clauses built in, but especially when you don't, one of the things you're sacrificing in exchange for the multiples of the tens of millions that a superstar might make in one season, one of the things that you exchange for that is your freedom to choose where you're going to play every season. But here's the other thing, Stephen A. They don't really sacrifice that. Not the superstars. They'll play exactly. They will sign the contract, for the multi-year contract, right? And they'll still play wherever they want to play, even in the middle of that deal. They'll force themselves out, as James Harden did. They have enough leverage and enough juice to get that done. Now, something's going to have to give. If you're signed up multiple years and you've gotten that security and you're getting that money, and now you've decided I no longer want to play here and you want to force yourself out, you're going to have to look to extra legal or extra contractual ways of doing it. You're going to have to pout or claim injury or be a locker room cancer. But the upshot is this. Harden signed his deal, got all the money, still wound up on the team to which he wanted to be traded. And yes, his reputation did take a little bit of a hit to do it. That's the way it is. That's reality. If players want the ability to go anywhere, like when LeBron James got criticized for going to Miami, Stephen A., 100% on his side. He's a free agent. Go where you want. If you want to sign a series of one-year deals, be a free agent every year, I'll stand up for you right next to Draymond Green and say, hold on, time out. Why are you vilifying this dude? He's free to go where he wants. But, Stephen A., if you're in the middle of a long-term deal and you get to play where you want to play, forgive me for not being overly sympathetic that your reputation takes a little bit of hit if, as Draymond admits, you dogged it in order to get traded.
Well, first of all, listen, I think you missed the boat here, and I'm pretty surprised that you missed the boat because you usually don't miss the boat on issues such as this nature. Now, I'll blame it to some degree on somewhat convoluted Draymond Green was or how he came across because it wasn't as clear to some people as it was to maybe somebody like me. But I understood exactly where he was coming from, and I completely agree with Draymond Green. And here's the reason why. Draymond Green, is talking about not just the optics, but the vitriol accorded to players that teams don't necessarily get. And that's unfavorable treatment in the direction of players. That's what he was alluding to. A team that wants the Detroit Pistons come out and announce they're trying to move Blake Griffin. So guess what? They're probably going to sit him down before they make a move. No problem. The Cleveland Cavaliers decided with Andre Drummond. No problem. But James Harden wants out, and he's vilified. Other players might want out, and they're vilified. It's only when it's in concert with the team they represent that everybody's okay with it. But if a team sits up there and says, we don't want you, we don't give a damn about you, they don't get crucified, they don't get vilified, they don't get held accountable in a court of public opinion. And so even though we somewhat understand that because a team is entirely different than an individual and the shrapnel of criticism that they're capable of absorbing is significantly more per se than an individual player, what Draymond Green as an individual player is pointing out, particularly in this day and time, black men who to some degree are empowered, whether directly or indirectly, and as a result, society as a whole resenting that the second they flex and exercise whatever level of power that they may have to get what they want, society turns against them. They call them malcontents, they call them problem children, they call them prima donnas, they excoriate them, etc., etc. And what Draymond is saying is, where's that same vitriol? Where's that same intensity when it comes to a team electing, in Andre Drummond's case, just to highlight and illuminate this discussion? You decide you don't want him. He's scheduled to play in the game. He leaves the bench, goes in the locker room, comes back outside in street clothes because you said, guess what? We want to focus on Jared Allen. That's going to compromise your minutes. As a result, you're probably not going to be here. So guess what? Not only do you not play, but you have to sit on the bench in street clothes until we say otherwise. That's kind of humiliating. Yeah. I mean, just let him go home. Let him relax. Let him chill out. Like Detroit evidently is doing with Blake Griffin until you make a move. For him to sit on a bench in street clothes when he's perfectly healthy, averaging what he's averaging, 15 points, 13 rebounds a game, etc. He's not a scrub. This is not a dude that's not healthy. This is not a dude that's not ready to play. Why didn't you play him? And if you're not going to play him, let him go home. But to have him come on the bench, sit there in street clothes, and all under the guise of professionalism because we're in this together and we're going to move you, etc., etc., it still makes you look bad. It subjects you to a level of embarrassment, as Draymond Green pointed out, that's completely unnecessary. And if a player decides, guess what, I don't want to play. Think about it. Put it to you this way, Max. What if James Harden or even Andre Drummond or Blake Griffin sat up there and literally said, I want out. So I'm going to be with the team. And I'm going to sit on the bench, but I'm not playing because I want out of here. Everybody would have lost their damn mind. Who the hell does that player think he is? But the team can do it. And it's not a problem. That's what Draymond Green was trying to explain. And that's not really about the teams. It's not really about the players. It's really about us as the fourth estate, as members of the media, as individuals who disseminate a commentary and punditry about a particular player, whatever. He's like, where's the consistency? And I think Draymond Green makes a very, very valid point when he says that. Because there isn't consistency when it comes to the players.
I mean, Stephen A., I think you opened up a whole can of worms, like a whole slew of issues to discuss.
What I do.
But I would say, first of all, let's start with the fourth estate to begin with. You know, we are the fourth estate. When you talk about the most influential sports talk shows, you know, here we are on First Take. You're defending Draymond's point of view.
Absolutely.
When James Harden wanted to be traded, I got on TV and told the Rockets, you're going to have to trade him. Don't drag this out. Let's not be foolish. James Harden's going to get what he wants. You know, I wouldn't say that the fourth estate has fallen down and simply excoriated the players and not held the teams accountable. The other bigger issue to me is the racial component. As I said yesterday when it came to the NFL and the Jaguars situation, there is an enormous overlap with labor issues and racial issues in this country and in sports leagues. When you said black men, largely the players, right? When we say labor, the players, we are referring to predominantly African-American men in this country, right? That's what we're talking about, not the foreign-born players. The ownership level is almost, with the exception of Michael Jordan, exclusively white. And by the way, Jordan gets to be an owner. It's like what Chris Rock said about his neighbor being a dentist. You know, Chris Rock, one of the most successful people in the world, his neighbor is a white dentist. He said, in order for that if my neighbor were a black dentist, he would have had to invent teeth in order to live in my neighborhood, right? So the point is, the one owner that's not white is the greatest athlete who ever lived. So yes, the owners who get to make these decisions and come out clean are almost exclusively white, and the players who are forced to use methods that can turn the public and press against them are usually African-American. There is a racial overlap there,
I'm going to put it simpler and shorter for you. You're not entirely correct there because before Michael Jordan became the owner of the Charlotte Hornets, he was a minority owner with the Charlotte Bobcats. The majority owner was a gentleman by the name of Bob Johnson, who was not the greatest player in the world, but he's one of the greatest businessmen, and he was a black man and he used to own BET and was worth $1.7 billion. And he had a financial portfolio that Larry Bird and his group, who wanted to buy the team, did not have at that particular moment in time. So maybe that should be a lesson to a lot of black folks out there who have these resources, pool it together and make a push to own an NBA franchise. And let's see if the Board of Governors with the NBA would support that. And that could be an interesting discussion moving forward.
Yeah. Well, until something like that happens, it's going to be interesting to see in the coming days which players publicly come forward and really